During a round of Truth or Dare, my boss, Victoria Hale, leaned in and kissed my husband Ethan Graves as just another junior employee. I didn't even have the chance to call her out in front of everyone. Instead, I slipped away to the restroom and asked Ethan for a divorce. He brushed it off as if I were only sulking. Don't take it so seriously, she's just had too much to drink. In the corporate world, you have to entertain. Play along for the sake of the project. However, in the very next round, when Victoria was dared to kiss someone else, Ethan flipped the table in front of everyone. Touch her, and see what happens. Chapter 1. The sound of shattering glass cut through the private lounge, silencing the laughter and noise instantly. Embarrassed, Lewis Carter, the man who had demanded a kiss, sneered darkly. Ethan Graves, what's this? You get a kiss, but I don't. What, is Victoria your wife or something? Victoria Hale glanced at Ethan with pleading, pitiful eyes. The air grew so tense that everyone seemed to hold their breath. After all, everyone knew that Ethan Graves was long since married and famously henpecked. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Ethan didn't even spare me a glance. He simply reached out and took Victoria's hand. A quick-witted employee shouted, damn, so it's true. Ms. Hale is your wife. No wonder. It would take a powerhouse like her to land a guy like you. Ethan said nothing. Victoria blushed, leaning shyly against his chest. As the one who'd started all this, Lewis wore a look of disbelief before breaking into loud laughter. All right, you sly bastard, guess you pulled it off. If nobody knew, then no harm done. Ethan laughed along, claiming he'd just gotten carried away earlier. Soon enough, the two men clasped hands, and a multi-million-dollar contract was finalized and signed. With business wrapped up, the higher-ups at the table began teasing Ethan and Victoria. Some even joked that since they'd missed the wedding, they should make it up tonight with a toast shared between the bride and the groom. Quickly regaining her composure, Victoria slipped right back into her element as the queen of the dinner table. She nodded confidently, then pointed straight at me. Maya, bring us the wine. I caught the fleeting triumph in her eyes and couldn't shake the suspicion that she'd known about my marriage all along. She was doing this on purpose. Alas, I was just a lowly employee, and Ethan clearly had no intention of standing up for me. I swallowed my humiliation, telling myself this was just business, a mere act to keep the deal alive. Still, I couldn't stop the involuntary tremors of anger running through my body as I carried over the wine for their toast. No sooner had they finished than the crowd roared again. Kiss. Kiss. Victoria tilted her face up, closing her eyes. Standing just behind Ethan, I whispered desperately, enough, even if this is just for show. You've gone too far. I'm furious. How foolish of me to think Ethan might care about whether I was upset. Without the slightest hesitation, he kissed her. Furthermore, it wasn't a polite peck, it was hungry and reckless, as if the two of them might combust right there in front of everyone. Lewis popped a bottle of champagne, laughing boisterously. Now that's passion. Alright, that's enough for tonight. Let's all clear out before these two start trying for kids. The room erupted in knowing laughter. My head spun while my stomach roiled. Through the haze, someone tugged me toward the door. Can't you read the room? Get out already. I instinctively pulled away, only to meet Ethan's disappointed eyes. Why can't you be more like Victoria and be more understanding? Chapter 2. I waited at home until midnight before Ethan finally returned. When he opened the door and saw me sitting on the couch, there was neither any trace of guilt on his face nor the urge to explain. Instead, he barked an order, run the bath for me, and pour me a cold drink. When I didn't move, he pressed his fingers to his brow in irritation. Maya, what little tantrum are you throwing now? I'm exhausted. Alright, exhausted from drinking or from making out with another woman. My words dripped with sarcasm. And you still expect me to treat you with respect? Ethan gave a short, cold laugh. I've already told you, it was business. I was playing along. You've been out of work for years. You wouldn't understand, but even you must see it was because Victoria and I acted the part that Lewis signed the contract so quickly. His words hit me hard, stealing my breath and planting seeds of self-doubt. It was true. At first, Lewis had kept stalling, but the moment he was led to believe Ethan and Victoria were a married couple, he'd signed the deal without hesitation. Still, something about it felt wrong. I couldn't quite name it, and the words died on my lips. All I could manage was, business or not, I'm your wife. How could you be that intimate with another woman? Ethan shot back with scorn. So what was I supposed to do? Not protect a subordinate? Start a fight with Lewis? Walk away from a multi-million-dollar deal? Stop providing for us? Like always, our quarrel spiraled into him insisting I didn't understand the workplace, that I was being unreasonable. In the end, he delivered his judgment from on high. Maya, see, I'm right. You're not suited for the corporate world. Just stay home quietly. As Mrs. Graves, you'll never want for money. Tomorrow I'll hand in your resignation on your behalf. I bit my lip so hard I tasted blood and refused to answer. Out of patience, Ethan left me with one last line before slamming the bedroom door shut. We'll do it my way. Left alone on the couch, tears streamed silently down my face. Fine, let's say he was only putting on a show for business, but what gave him the right to so easily declare that I wasn't suited for the workplace, that I could only survive by relying on him? Back then, when his mother fell ill and the caretaker abused her, I had quit my job to care for her. I had already received the contract for my promotion as manager. On the other hand, he was just another ordinary employee. I lost that position and my career when he was fired. I even poured my parents' entire inheritance into his first venture. I nursed his mother for 5 years, never letting him lift a finger at home. Without me, he never could have become the Ethan Graves everyone admired. Now that his mother had passed, just as I finally had the chance to step back into my career, he dismissed me in a single breath. As for the reason, because I didn't understand his intimacy with another woman. The thought of divorce thundered in my mind, relentless, but I couldn't bear it. Ethan wasn't just my husband, he was the boy I'd loved in secret since I was young. Aside from tonight, he had never betrayed me. No matter how busy he was, he always came home. He remembered my birthday, he brought me gifts, he checked in with me. More than anything, I couldn't swallow the bitterness. Why was it that I had given 5 years of my life, poured in all my money, and raised him into the powerful Ethan Graves while I was nothing more than little Maya from the office, and nobody at work, a servant at home? I smothered the doubts in my chest again and again, forcing myself to believe it was just an act, nothing more. However, I never imagined that once the first crack appeared in the heart, the dam would burst faster than you ever thought it could. Chapter 3. I obeyed Ethan's command and stopped going to the office. It wasn't only because he decided dismissed me instead. I couldn't stand Victoria calling my name with that superior air. I wanted her to call me Mrs. Graves. Sadly, Ethan refused to take me anywhere. He claimed that showing up with me now would expose the lie to Lewis and jeopardize the deal. I ordered him not to bring Victoria either and to go alone. However, Ethan only scolded me for being unreasonable. Who goes to these events without a spouse? I snapped. And what about the past few years? Because I was stuck caring for your mother. I never had a chance to go anywhere with you. No one even knows I'm your wife. You didn't need a spouse back then, so why suddenly now? At the mention of his mother, something in him snapped, his face twisted with irritation. Yes, you took care of her, and I'm grateful, but haven't I provided for you all these years? Food, clothes, shelter. Have I ever shorted you? Stop throwing my mother in my face every time you're unhappy. I don't owe you. His voice dripped with scorn. Maya, you've changed. When did you become this petty, always holding favors over me? You should really take a leaf out of Victoria's book. I couldn't stop him. He went on taking Victoria to event after event. Even when my stomach illness flared so badly that I collapsed and was taken to the hospital by ambulance, he didn't show up. He dismissed me as jealous, petty, and spiteful. I sat on that hospital bed sobbing. The irony cut deep. My stomach problems had begun while caring for his mother. Whenever I ate, she would call me to empty her bedpan, and I developed a phobia of food. At night, when I tried to sleep, she would moan and groan without telling me what was wrong, keeping me awake while she slept peacefully during the day. Year after year, my health eroded. All it earned me now was Ethan's sneer that I was ungrateful, always throwing favors in his face. I cried harder until my eyes were swollen. In my misery, I called him again and again, desperate to make him share my pain. However, Ethan turned off his phone. In the end, it was Victoria who answered. Her voice was laced with false kindness. Maya, don't take this the wrong way, but Ethan's in the middle of an important business meeting. How's he supposed to focus with you calling over and over? You see, that's why he brings me along, because I know how to help him and I'm considerate. Fury boiled up in me. I hurled my phone aside and wailed. Through the curtain separating my bed, a hand slipped over, pressing a packet of tissues into mine. A timid voice followed. Don't cry, miss. Your stomach will only hurt worse. I pulled back the curtain just as the door opened. A man, who appeared travel-worn and was holding takeout, rushed to the bedside of the girl.